how I compete. I realized a certain style didn't work out for me for my last fight, so I was just going to be a lot more aggressive, a lot more violent, and it's not going to really matter who's going to be across the cage. But that's how the whole thing really started, and I just kind of ran with it, and I didn't really think it would be like pick up as much as it did, and it did, but I haven't heard anything. It's been crickets on her end, so she's obviously, she has someone in mind, and she wants to exit in her own fashion, in a winning fashion. Again, I was just like, well, I won't be the one. I won't mind being the one to show her the door, and that was it. So, also, it's kind of an announcement to say, hey, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to compete. Just kind of like an audience know as well.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting. It would be an interesting fight, to say the least. I mean, you're right. I think roughly, probably a little bit near each other in terms of the rankings, so it'll be interesting.
Well, she's coming off of 3 losses. I'm coming off of 2. My last one was a controversial loss. I think it's a great matchup, and I appreciate the exposure I've had so far. I think it's a lot of exposure right now, and it's a good pace for me because I didn't want things to happen too quickly. I do love the fight game more so than the Instagram game. I'm training every day to be the best fighter in there. I'm really not trying to I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I'm not really focused on my social media as much. But I got paid to post, and I got paid. I've made several $1,000s through social media stuff and posting, and it's fun and all, but I really like fighting more. So I kind of just let that die down, and I guess that's why I'm more of a fighter. I guess I care more about competing than I do about looks.
Well, with that in mind, I mean, your last fight, I mean, like I said, it was a little bit of a controversial kind of loss there as well. I mean, did you learn a lot from that fight?
Oh yeah. I was the kind of fighter that really appreciated combinations. I like that canter, like the back and forth. I love combinations and working on counters and things that I worked in training camp. And so I kind of did things to kind of entice her for her to fight back. I was learning some technical things in there, high line, low line things, combinations that aren't really seen, and it just wasn't. The judges didn't recognize any of it. They weren't appreciated, and I just realized, man, this is not what I thought it was. So the subculture, the UFC, the MMA world, they just want to, they want to see someone ripped to pieces. Okay, fine, I'll give them that. But man, that makes me feel really bad for my opponent. But I respect longevity. I want my opponent to be able to continue, but I don't think that my style, that approach is going to work anymore because I'm coming off the second loss, and I'm not going to play around in there anymore. I'm not going to play for combinations. I'm not going to play for that I've been working on camp. I'll hope that those things will happen in a natural progression, but it's going to be a lot more violent, be a lot more aggressive, and I'm going to go in there to shut the person down, not just play around in there.
Any questions, Chelsea?
No, I mean, I like what you're saying. I'm from the same school of thought as far it gets hard sometimes because we are martial artists and fighters. It's a bit of a combination, right? So from the martial arts perspective, you're always stoked on the technique behind my throw was amazing, but no one cares. I mean, that's not even quite fair to say. People that understand it do appreciate it, but you're in there to end someone. Right? So, I go out there to rip face. When I sit at a dinner table with you, I want to hold your kids and pet your puppies, but when I'm across the cage from you, I want to eat your children. You know what I mean? And that whole Mike Tyson thing is real.
I remember the last one. It was gutting. It was my hometown, and we all thought I won. There's even the camera was Justine, you won, and the next they didn't call my name for the winning side. So I'm just trying to revisit everything that had happened, and I realized, and I learned later on that the judges knew very little about MMA, about the sport. They were randomly selected by the commission. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt that if they didn't understand anything that they saw, if they could only go by physical appearance, I was the one with the bloody nose. So that's the only thing I could imagine that would make them choose the other person. But even on the cards, everything was heavily counted on my side. So again, I can't play around for that anymore. But I do come from a Muay Thai. My specialty is Muay Thai. I'm a Muay Thai world champion, and I've won with with all these different combinations with sweeps. And then my trainer says, okay, round 4 or 5, okay, go ahead and finish your opponent now, because I landed all the combinations that they betted for, and then like, okay, you can finish now. So those kind of things have happened, and we're talking about like 25 Muay Thai fights. So I'm only in, this is my, I don't know, I think this is my 7th or 8th MMA fight. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how the UFC operates. I'm paying attention because I want to stay in it. I want to succeed. I want to compete with the best. So I got to figure out what I need to do, what I need to change to get back in the winning column. So I think I'm in the right place, and I'm being educated and in the right area to help me figure out how this competition works, because even the scoring is very, very subjective. There are times that I'm laying on the floor and there's a lot of stalling going on, and they're doing the right things for me to not get up, but they're not striking or anything. So I'm like, oh, they'll stand it up, but they never do. They didn't stand it up. Next thing you know, the clock is over. The clock runs out, and I'm like, oh crap, nothing happened in that round. That's just not going to happen anymore.
So how did you arrive at the fact that you kind of needed to change your gear, that you needed to do something different? Did you just go back and watch your fights, or?
I know that loss did it for me. I was like, I was just so shocked, and everyone was, and I was like, I don't even understand the scoring for my own sport. I'm at the pinnacle of MMA at the UFC, and I'm trying to figure out like where I went wrong, what I did wrong, and pretty much it was I just didn't finish my opponent. I left it to the judges. And that sometimes the judges have no idea what they're really watching, and that's a huge contributing factor to when you leave it to the judges. So again, like this next fight is going to be about shutting things down, not doing things for sport, not trying to get, well, there will be some art to it and some style to it, I would hope so, but it's going to just be a lot more aggressive.
Well, obviously, transitioning training camps, it's something that you've come to know. You've done that from when you were in New Jersey now, and then went to California for a while. Now you're here in Las Vegas as well. And then you said that you're going to Thailand? Yeah,
this will be my 11th. That's where I do the majority of my training camps. My last 2 fights, I decided to move back to North Carolina. My mom wasn't so well, so I was going to try to make do and do my 2 camps out in Charlotte, North Carolina. We just didn't have a cage. We didn't have the girls to practice with, so I'm going to go back to what I was doing when I was in the winning column. So I'm making my trip back to Thailand. This will be like my 11th trip out there, and I'll be training at Simbi Muay Thai for 4 weeks, maybe give or take a little bit more depending on the fight announcement. And then I go back up to LA and I work with Black House MMA with my coach Kenny Johnson, and he said there's a lot of talented girls for me to work with out there. So I'm just going back to what I was doing when I was on like my 20 fight win streak, whatever it was. With everything, with boxing, kickboxing, MMA, Muay Thai, we're talking about over 30 fights. I don't know exactly, and I'm experiencing 3 career losses now. So I'm not taking these last 2 back-to-back losses lightly. So I'm not the kind of person that will do the same thing over and over again. I got to do something different, and I've got to be more aggressive, and I've got to be loud about it.
UPI has been an awesome resource, I hear from a lot of fighters, in terms of your nutrition, and to be able to have a weight, be able to get some knowledge about weight cutting as well. How's it been for you to work with the UPI, and how is that helping in terms of your camps? It's
UFC Performance Institute, so a lot of people would just say the PI, and it's been incredible. I had no idea, I didn't know anyone or any of the staff, but I just knew that I had a feeling that this is the place I need to be, because after I experienced another knee injuries, little knee injuries here and there. Back to that last fight, I was like, something snapped. I don't think I'll be able to shake this one off. And I learned later on I was operating on like half a ligament. And so I tried to take another fight, then the surgeon's like, you cannot fight again. Right now I can fix it. You'll be out for a year. And I was like, that gutted me. But I was like, I don't know what to do. And luckily the Performance Institute opened up, and I heard that it's going to be physical therapy, it's going to be nutrition, everything's going to be under one roof. And if you're on the roster, then everything is free for the UFC athlete. And that we're talking about strength and conditioning, nutrition, and they don't just tell you what to do; they educate you on like what the process is. I'm totally like I used to be the kind of person, tell me what to do, I will do it. And I go to wrestling practice and I do something else and something different. I don't really dwell on, oh hey, I just did this. Now what do I do next? I know the coaches don't really want to hear it because we're all doing that. For MMA, you got to wrestle, you got to do jiu-jitsu, you got to do striking, you got to do so many different things and transitions. So it's a lot to take in, but I have learned that we're all overtraining. As a common story, and so they're teaching me how to taper, and my performance has definitely increased a lot. And I've become, for whatever reason, I did my style, my own kind of style to make 115, and I realized I kind of became like a slow twitch athlete. I wasn't getting all of my UFC fights have gone to decision. So I really became the slow twitch athlete, and because of these long runs just to make weight. Well, I have a smarter, better approach now, and I'm more explosive, and I feel like I have that snap, that retraction, what I need to get back up to finish these fights instead of for them to go back to decision. And I'll be doing 115 and 125, so whichever opportunity comes first. I know I can do both. The UFC Performance Institute have helped me get to a walking around weight that is not that for that to be a healthier option for me.
Yeah. Okay. We have a couple of fan questions for you here. Ashley, the MMA nerd, is asking, what's your dream fight? Who do you want to fight? Is there anybody that you would love to fight at some point?
It doesn't matter. No, I don't. I mean, there's not. I mean,
Is there any fight that you would love to see between two other fighters?
I of course, I just watched Habib. He's incredible to watch. So I think that his next fight was going to be fantastic. Valentina is one of my. I've seen about Valentina's name whenever I was just starting Muay Thai, and so she's a hero to me. And for the 125 division, she's like an ambassador, and so I love watching her compete. She's just so technical, and she handles herself beautifully. But no, I just kind of take with. I can't really say, I want to see these people fight. I'm the kind of person that, when things are brought together, then I'll appreciate it and I'll watch it. But no, I'm not really the kind of person that will say who I want to see fight. So that's a lame response.
Yeah, Ashley's second question is, why do you think it seems to be so much more difficult for female fighters to main event or reach star status?
I would just blame that strictly on views. Like if we want that star status as main events, then we got to get the views up. I would kind of say that has to be similar to like the women's soccer team event. Like soccer team, like they want more money, they want these things, and I believe that they deserve it too. But the views aren't there for whatever reason. So I think it's kind of difficult for people. I don't mind it, but I take it from my family, and it's difficult to watch. I think in America it's difficult for a lot of people to watch two females fight. So that's kind of hard for some people to tune into. Again, it doesn't really matter to me, but I think it's about views. So if we got the views and if we got the support that I think we should all get, then I think it would be a different story. So
I'll agree with that. I think the paychecks go to where the eyeballs are. There was a time not very long ago, though, that Ronda was headlining a lot, but she was doing a lot outside the cage as well. And I think that if we jump on board and do some more things outside the cage, that we could start to see more eyeballs come our way. New divisions being ushered in is a fantastic opportunity for us. We've got to maintain professionalism, but not be boring. I think women put on phenomenal fights. I think we're always either the most exciting or one of the most exciting, and I think that's across the board. Anyone who follows MMA pretty much will agree with that. That's what's talked about in many circles. But, we got to do something a little bit extra to bring the eyeballs over, whether that's getting on some TV shows, being interesting, being funny on Instagram. calling people out. It's got to be something else. You know, they're still not quite aware that we're here, or they think it's something else. Like you're saying, some people are uncomfortable because they think it's this. They think it's like Mortal Kombat or something, and they're going to see two chicks die. When people actually get introduced to it, like some of my family members, they're like, this is amazing. These women are really amazing. And